Hi, welcome to the Linux channel. See, one of the difficult things I had once I got my own student recruited in my company is trying to explain him what is an SD-WAN network, the big picture, and the architecture of the same. See, I didn't had much issues in terms of explaining the architecture because it is something I've done from a scratch, but as a whole, what constitutes an SD-WAN solution and what is the purpose of such an offering, because this is still a pretty much a niche domain in the market. You got various vendors you find, but still it is pretty much niche. One of the top providers in SD-WAN solution is Aryaka, and I'm glad that that is actually founded by you know in a part, it also comprised team who is from Akamai and stuff like that. I mean, they are not working in Akamai when they did, but eventually they just been out of Akamai. I mean, sold Akamai, and then eventually they did founded the Arika solution and stuff. But other than that, you get various vendors. You have VMware part of it, and Cisco, and various other firms, and including my firm now. Okay, so I did. Entire solution from scratch. I thought I can give a sort of big picture, because this is something you find various videos about SD-WAN network, and then they give various components, but I can give a coverage as an architect of an SD-WAN solution. See, there is some random YouTuber talking about an SD-WAN solution, giving an example or some overview about Cisco, Meraki, or Viptel or something like that. But here I can give uh, a kind of big picture and an introduction about a solution like SD-WAN, and what would be its purpose, and what we try to achieve with that sort of framework. Okay, see, as the name says, it's a software defined WAN, and the moment you get that SD associated with anything like a software defined storage, software defined networking. So SDN we call for networking, software defined networking, and SDS, which is software defined storage and stuff like that. So here, when you consider SD-WAN, we leverage software defined networking technologies, and various framework and solutions, and then we build an SD-WAN solution. Okay, so SD-WAN comprises various components, and the main purpose of the SD-WAN solution itself is to provide you end-to-end seamless connectivity. So when I say end-to-end, it's not somebody getting an basic internet connection. It's all about let's assume you have an office which is spread across multiple regions across the world, or within the same country. Okay, so you need to connect these private networks all around, and you need to have end-to-end connected network. So it can be banks having this ATMs, all these ATMs connected to the same bank private network, so that they can access their servers in their data centers and stuff. Same way, you can have a retail chain, you can have KFC, McDonald's, you can have anything like that. So you have you know various branches spread across geographically, and it doesn't need to be something like, it can be a simple an office which has some back end processing elsewhere. Say for instance, I long back worked in P&O Nedloyd, which is now long back acquired by Maersk. So they do the logistics processing and stuff like that in India and few other countries, but the main company is from Rotterdam, and stuff like that. So it can be anything like that. Okay, you have multiple branch offices, and you have also headquarters, and then you connect all these branch offices and make a single network. Sometimes now, due to pandemic, there are also the employees of a company working from home, and if you work from home, then you have a option where you can install an application. The company itself provide an application where you use that application which will do a VPN connectivity, and then your laptop will be connected to the VPN network, and essentially you are now a part of the office network. So you can work now seamlessly. By this way you will be connected to the office systems, servers and other infrastructure, and you can comfortably work from home. And this is something we can newly term as micro branches. These are like micro branches because this is not any entire branch office, but it's just a single home of an employee. So we can term these are like micro branches. See, this is not any industrial term. We can just as we define this segment, we can put all this terms. So either way, let it be huge branch offices or these micro branch office or whatever, the way we see the home of an employee. So the challenge is, let's imagine you have a couple of devices and he need to connect it to the office network, or each time he connects his laptop, then you need to install that app. In case if he uses some other operating system, then you need to find that VPN connection connectivity app supporting that native operating system and stuff like that. So there can be various challenges. So you have an option where like in the past I showed bunch of devices where I'm working. You have an option where you can have an entire SD-WAN solution, and then each end you can have an SD-WAN edge. Okay, the devices which I showed earlier, all these are like SD-WAN edge devices, something like this earlier what I showed. So I work on various models. So these are various SD-WAN edge devices. So the thing is, these edge devices will connect to the SD-WAN central network, and from that central network the remote headquarters of that office is connected. So in a way, instead of these companies tinker around and build their own VPN infrastructure, they try to opt for a third party service like an SD-WAN provider, and the SD-WAN provider can give this end to end seamless connectivity. So this is what happens as a part of SD-WAN solution offering. So there is a difference with your homebrew VPN connections versus an SD-WAN. An SD-WAN is capable of handling various other client networks as well, because the SD-WAN provider is actually providing a service. It is providing a managed service in this way, so that they can get various clients on board, and with their software defined WAN network, they can create various circuits, and in a way they can provide this sort of seamless connectivity. In my case, I provide both layer 2 end-to-end connectivity and as well as L3 end-to-end connectivity and stuff like that. So again, I don't want to go much in depth or explain how the product works, but I want to give a sort of overview. So I can give a little example. See, well, for example, let's imagine you have an edge device like this. Let's imagine there is one port which is an SD-WAN port, and let's imagine this is been configured for L2 SD-WAN. So what happens is, you can connect your home switch router, whatever, let's imagine over here, or your laptop over here. You are now essentially as same as you plugged into the network switch of your office. So it is same as you are sitting in the office workstation, and the moment you connect your Ethernet cable to that workstation Ethernet port, you are now part of the company's network. Same way you can actually do that from home. The moment you connect, you are now as same as sitting in the office, and you will be getting the same network what you get in the office. And it is so transparent, you don't see anymore you bypassing this and connecting to internet and stuff like that. It is same as you sit in the office. It is as simple as that. So this way there can be various use cases. The main intent of shooting this video is, I don't want to give the same coverage where most YouTube videos you find shot by general YouTubers. As an architect, I can say that the main use case is, you have this SD-WAN network. Let me just put across over here. You have this entire SD-WAN network, okay, which is leveraging software defined networking. So SD-WAN network, which is actually leveraging SDN. Okay, it is not equal to SDN, it is leveraging SDN, and then you build an entire network with this, and the whole network can comprise various components where it can have its own custom routing. It can have an optimized tunnels where the traffic can be WAN optimized, and various things like that, and also it can have a very secure tunnels within and stuff. So you can see this way in an abstract representation. In a way, you have this SDN network, and the objective now is you have various edge devices, like I shown this one, this black device. So you have various edge devices, and various edge devices this way is connected to the SD-WAN network with the help of internet. Okay, so you have this public internet over here, and this SD-WAN network you can build with various cloud infrastructure, or you can have your own data center. You can host your servers within the same. So this way it happens. So all these edge devices will be connected to this SD-WAN network with the help of public internet. And same way, with the help of public internet, you can also have client offices, the headquarters also connected to this SD-WAN network, with various other ways. They can have some sort of other third party connectivity. They can even have some GRE tunnels or MPLS, or either way, or else they can even have another edge over that side, which will be connecting to this SD-WAN network. So in a way you get this way. The only difference is, instead of they building themselves with their homebrew VPN solutions, they opt this as a service. Hence this is provided as a managed service, and this way you have all this these are those headquarters or other sort of branch could be actually. And same way, these are these edge devices, and this way you have this branch offices connected to that. And same way, even we can define this as a micro branch, which is nothing but the home of their employees actually. So this way you get a seamless connection, and you have this sort of setup. So here there are various other things are there. You have these nodes, we call it as a gateway, and even various other companies will have their own terms actually. We have those HDN servers, we call it as a gateway. So you have such gateways which will be connected this way. So again, this headquarters can be connected in various other ways. Again, I'm not going much in depth. Let's assume you can have an edge here, or sometimes they can have some other means, and some or other way they will be connected to this SD-WAN network. So once it is connected, you can of course you can bridge these edge devices all the way to that headquarters in a way. So this potentially happens, and like now you see, now as you build this SD-WAN network, you can leverage cloud platform. You can host your servers in AWS or Google Google Cloud or Oracle Cloud, or any such thing, or you can have it in your own data center and host these things. And in a way, the challenge now is sometimes if you want to transfer packets from this end to the other end, then you can have your own custom optimized routes. You can also do an entire WAN opt within this SD-WAN network, or you can even extend the WAN opt from the edge to this SD-WAN network, and if also possible, you can also extend that WAN opt all the way to this edge as well. So again, this is not something a hardcore rule. It again depends on how the vendor built their own SD-WAN network. Sometimes WAN opt may not be required or may not be provided. Sometimes it can be provided as an add-on and stuff. Same way you can have other security features as well. So one of the key components of SD-WAN network is remote orchestration and remote monitoring and stuff. So again, this is something very vital, because sometimes these edge devices can be many, hundreds or thousands of devices. Let's say you have a company which have several employees and they have around 5,000 devices connected across the world. Now what happens if you want to push any security policy, or you want to provision all these devices, or you need to configure them and stuff like that? You can't go to each and every individual employee's LAN network like you have the typical generic Wi-Fi routers, and go there and configure it over this side. So this is the let's imagine this is the LAN port. You can't go and connect each and every person over here, and then somebody make them connect to their laptop and configure these 5,000 devices. It's not possible. Hence you can also have a different components within the SD-WAN network. In a way, they will be connected to this, and in a way all the edge devices will be connected, and through this you can have a central orchestrator and this can be a part of, again, a cloud based central orchestrator, and through that central orchestrator an administrator can monitor, manage them, administrate all these edge devices and including this gateway devices through this. So this makes really powerful, because now you have a company where they can have a complete control over their deployed devices. See, there are two entities are there. One is the SD-WAN provider, one is the company which is subscribing to. So when I say company, two entities are involved. This is the provider, okay, and this is the subscriber actually. Okay, so there are two companies which, so in either way, either the provider or the subscriber, either way they have this complete control over these many devices. And if there is any security policy, or there is some sort of an attack, or some malicious region is causing some sort of an attack or something, then you can have those policies you can frame, and then you can push across. Sometimes it is affecting only these gateway devices, then push those policies over here. Sometimes it is attacking globally, and any unsuspecting device is going to be affected. Then you can also push those policies to each and every individual edge as well. So all these things constitutes various offering as a part of SD-WAN solution. So in a summary, you can see SD-WAN solution is meant to provide end-to-end connectivity. The other option or other add-on it can also provide is it can have an highly secure and also an highly optimized end-to-end connectivity, so that it is not something you need to deal with your own custom VPN solution, because instead of doing that you are giving it to an SD-WAN vendor along with end-to-end connectivity by leveraging software defined networking technologies as well, VPN and various other stuff. They are providing the whole thing as a service, as a managed service, and you can get away doing this custom VPN thing by yourself, and instead you can subscribe to an SD-WAN provider, where they also offer part hardware and part infrastructure to make all this possible, because it's just not like a CDN like subscription. See, when I worked in Akamai, they provide the CDN subscriptions, so it's not something you need to get anything as a hardware offering. So it's just you subscribe, and then you point your web servers, so that the origin web servers will not be served for any page requests. Instead, the caching edge servers will be serving those pages or content or the resources, web resources, and that happens in the case of CDN, where you subscribe it and it will be provided as a service, versus here it's mostly also there are hardware components are involved. Sometimes these gateway devices can be also deployed at the customer premises, right? So sometimes even this can be deployed over here, and in a way it can have its own SD-WAN network, sort of it can form in this fashion also. Okay, so this way what happens is they can have on-premise gateway, they can have an hardware device, they can have a virtual machine. Either way, again, there's an advantage if you have a VM. If there is anything crashes, if anything goes down, it's just as simple as spawning another instance or another standby instance you can trigger, and then you can have some sort of redundancy and hot standby and various options like that actually. So it's a big subject, but I'm saying it can constitute various components. Primarily you have these edge devices which is connecting each customer premises. So these are like CPEs, so customer premises equipment. It's just of course not this model alone. Hope you saw in my previous videos I'm working in various edge variants actually. So one is the edge devices, one is the central cloud orchestrator, where you can orchestrate the whole stuff, the whole drama you can orchestrate there, and you get that full bird's eye view of whatever happening in the network, and you can from there you can take any decisions, and if there is any circuit which is not behaving properly or something like that, if something goes down or something acting weird, you can take call, and as well if there is any security policies you can push throughout this devices, and not just edge devices, even those gateways as well. So the gateways are those aggregators where all these edge devices will be connected to this gateways, and then these gateways can be in turn connected to the backend headquarters of the customer or the subscribers network actually. So in the end what you get is all these edge devices are now part of the main central customers headquarters, and this way they get that seamless connectivity. So again, if you are a beginner, what I meant seamless connectivity is they will be now part of their private IP subnets, because that's the whole point. You use most of the times a VPN solution also. Okay, the main thing people get confused is because many YouTubers promote some VPN service saying this is secure, that, this, and stuff like that, but it's just not true again. Okay, because let's imagine you put a VPN, you use a general VPN, and again, this not to be confused, see, the VPN ads you get in YouTube videos are not the VPN solution used by your company. It's completely different. See, the company uses a VPN so that you can connect the private networks of their employees to their office network, versus the VPNs you find in the ads are nothing but it's just a simple VPN solution. The moment you connect to that VPN network, the packets will go from your ISP all the way to that VPN servers, and from that VPN servers it will again come back and connect to the regular internet. So all you are doing is maybe you are bypassing this local visibility to your local government as well your local ISP, but in a way the packets are going to come out of the tunnel and be connected to the internet anyway. So I don't see any point using most of these VPN solutions as this thing. But again, there is no confusion that VPN is completely not related to SD-WAN. So if you are a beginner, I can give a sort of a view. Let's imagine you have again a scenario, a headquarters, and you have a branch office, and you leverage and use VPN technology and connect various branch offices to that headquarters, and this way all these branch offices are part of the same private network. Of course, traditionally they used MPLS networks. Even now they use MPLS networks. Many banks do still use MPLS networks. So you can do that. In a way, you get a circuit almost as same as private leased line circuits. Okay, so that's what is the intent of using an MPLS circuit. So when you want to subscribe a private leased line circuit, you get an MPLS connectivity, end-to-end connectivity. So this is one reason you use, assume this is internet. On top of the internet, you use VPN, so that you get end-to-end connectivity via VPN. So this is one intent of using a VPN technology. The other intent is what you find in YouTube ads is that some random say a laptop or a smartphone, laptop or a phone, subscribing to a VPN solution. So what you get is, you get a VPN solution. Due to this, you are now not visible to your ISP, because this is connected to your local ISP, right? So let's just put it in some other color. This is connected to your local ISP, okay, and that local ISP also is under the control of the government actually. So you are not visible to the ISP, you are not visible to the government, because your packets are all going end to end, end-to-end encrypted all the way to the VPN servers, which is located in US or some other country actually, right? So it is forming an end-to-end encrypted VPN tunnel to that server, and after that server it is anyway non-encrypted traffic coming out of the server, connecting to the regular internet actually, right? So this is nothing, the whole thing you are building it, and finally instead of getting these packets from the laptop to the internet, all you are doing is you are extending it, this pipe, with this VPN service, and getting to the VPN server, and from here it is connecting to this internet anyway. So either way you are going to access Google, either way you are going to access YouTube, Facebook or Instagram, whatever it is, either way they are going to track you, because either way you are going to come out of that VPN tunnel and going to expose yourself to the internet anyway. So I don't see any purpose generally using any such VPN service. But of course, if you want to be concerned not exposing yourself to the local ISP or local government, perhaps that solution can provide some value add. But other than that, it has no other purpose. Instead of you connecting here, you are actually connecting here, and in a way it actually slows down your network, because VPN is always an overhead. It is something, due to that main reason I don't generally like VPN networks. I have talked time to time about it actually, not now, even several years before I have done various videos and talked about VPN networks. But in the case of this type of a thing, of course this is the only way you can do, because if you don't want to use leased line circuits, private leased line circuits, which are also quite expensive, and it also takes time to get that actually. So if you don't want that, then form this kind of tunnels from here to here, end to end end to end VPN tunnels via public internet. And then this is the main purpose of a technology like VPN, so that you can get end-to-end private network connectivity. But the ads what you see in general YouTubers are, it's like this NordVPN or TunnelBear or various other firms. Their purpose is to masquerade or hide you from getting to this local ISP's stuff. Instead, they are getting these packets encrypted to the VPN server, and from here it will be again back connected to the same internet. So you get the same internet services through this rather than in this way actually. So they think, Google thinks as if you are connected or as if you travel to US, because now your public IP from your side is some US IP instead of your router's side NATed public IP. So it's not anymore your ISP, instead it is some other VPN provider's IP. Okay, so it's completely different. So SDN is not about this, SDN is about this. Okay, so this, I thought of giving this clarification, but as we discuss, people tend to get confused. You have the VPN, you have the SDN, and you have the cloud technologies. You need to leverage all these things to get you know an SD-WAN solution, and you can architect, and as a vendor you architect so that you can accommodate many customers, and you can leverage your infrastructure, your networks, so that you can accommodate all these customers, and you can provide this seamless end-to-end connectivity, which is safe and also which is optimized actually. Because in case if it is too much geographically distributed, and in case if there is, there is also a point, in case something like this, we can do that, but in case this gateway fails or something happens, having an on-premise gateway, it also makes sense. You don't generally keep the gateways over here, but some customers insist. But in case if they don't have the gateways here, okay, instead they choose as a part of our own SD-WAN network. The advantage is, if some gateway goes down or something comes up, you can actually do a quick DCDR scenarios. Actually, you can have something as hot standby, and immediately the circuit, the edge can sense that it is not able to connect to that SD-WAN circuit. It can jump to another alternate gateway and stuff. So these possibilities are there if you have an infrastructure built this way and provided by a dedicated vendor, rather than companies trying to do any custom VPN solutions themselves. Because each and every time as they scale up, it becomes extremely hard for them to manage and monitor all these aspects actually. Hence you get to see a lot more these SD-WAN solution providers offering this whole thing as a managed service, where companies tend to subscribe or buy these managed services, and they get this SD-WAN solution offering. So hope this clarifies fundamentally what an SD-WAN solution is. If you have anything to discuss, be in touch via mail or post your small queries in YouTube comments. Usually you can't much discuss in comments, but if you want to discuss something small, you can post your queries in YouTube comments. Again, this video, my intent is not to compare various vendors and stuff like that. You get such videos again done by various done and published by various YouTubers, but the main intent is, as an architect, I want to give the overall big picture and see that what it offers, and get away the confusion that SD-WAN is not VPN. We can leverage a VPN technology. We can also use an off-shelf VPN technology like OpenVPN, WireGuard, or IPsec, stuff like that. Or you can build your own VPN technology from scratch. You can build your own VPN engines from scratch, and by doing so, what you get is you can actually have more control, because now you can have stuff like MPTCP. You can have stuff like WAN opt, everything provided within this VPN engines actually, which is not something traditionally OpenVPN or other things are meant to do that. Okay, they are just open source solutions which addresses something. But in case if you are looking for very customized VPN meant for this SD-WAN requirement, then it is better to do by yourself, and then build this whole SD-WAN infrastructure as a part of vendor offering for your customers. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye bye.